Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Swords and Sapphics. I'm Rachel,
I'm Ivy.
and this is the place where we talk about all things femininity, queerness, and representation, and it may include sharp objects. Okay, let's catch up because it's been a while since we recorded a podcast, a normal podcast at least.
hmm
Ivy, what have you been watching slash reading slash listening?
A lot, yeah. So I am rewatching The Office as I work. I love it very much. And the last time I w watched it was last year during Christmas, and now it's giving me all the Christmassy feels for some reason. And I'm just ready for Christmas.
As we all are.
Then, precisely. Then we watched the 5 days at in Memoriam something hospital. I don't
Yeah.
remember how it's called, obviously.
I think it's just called 5 Days in Memorial.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I agree with that statement.
So,
Which once again is on Apple TV.
once again, we are not sponsored by Apple TV. We just really like Apple TV right now.
We really adore Apple TV right now. Yes. It was TV, again, like mini series. It was 8 episodes about Hurricane Katrina
Yeah,
in the New Orleans. And wow, it was a ride.
it was a ride. It's based on a book by the same name. So I'm guessing it's based around true events, it feels like. Because they kept switching to like documentary and news footage bits like in the episodes. Um, so it felt like it was very much like a dramatization of what had really happened.
hmm
Um, and it really like raised questions and discussions about the morality of letting people suffer versus putting an end to that suffering because these like hospital patients were isolated for like 5 days. They had no help and they couldn't evacuate. And the doctors, there was a lot of discussions around the doctors, and they did the same with the pets as well because people had brought the pets to the hospital. And it
And
was,
they didn't have fresh water. They
yeah,
didn't have electricity.
yeah.
They were running out of food.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
They didn't have running water, which meant they were living in like their own like
Filth.
squalor, yeah, filth. And I can't even imagine how like traumatizing that would have been. So it was quite
Mm,
like harrowing and interesting in that sense. And also
mhm.
obviously makes you think like what would you do in that situation?
Yeah.
Plus Vera Farmiga.
Yeah, agreed. Honestly, yes, her. That's all.
Yeah,
Then also speaking of Apple TV, we started watching another show.
we did.
So how is it called? Surface?
Surface. Yeah. Yeah, we only watched one episode. I'm gonna be real. I started it for I don't even know his real name in real life.
Wait,
To
let
me,
me.
he's gonna be Peter Quint or Luke Crane from the Haunting
It's
series.
just Oliver Jackson Cohen.
Oliver Jackson Cohen. What a man. What a mighty good man.
Yeah. And honestly, I went in because of Gugu Bataro. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She was in Loki and in the morning show, I believe, and in another show that I know I have her somewhere else too, and I just adore her. And
Mm,
honestly, like she brainwashed me into forgetting she's British, and now her British accent just doesn't sit well with me.
I get
It
it.
was she's British in the show, and I'm like, nah,
which
nah.
is which I found very annoying because Oliver Jackson Cohen is British in real life also, and he had an American accent, and we
Yeah.
deserve better because in the Haunting of Bly Manor he has this really good Scottish brogue that really like did things to me, and sadly we just weren't allowed that this time round.
Yeah.
But initial thoughts, it seems like it's going to be very good and twisty. It's about a woman who has amnesia after supposedly trying to commit suicide by jumping off a boat, but there's questions around whether that really was her
What
doing
happened?
or if someone else was on the boat. And she finds out she was having an affair before the accident, so it's very like, who to trust? We can't really trust anyone, which is always the best kind
Precisely.
of genre.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially with Apple TV. Honestly, like they're doing it so fucking well. I
Yeah,
can't. I just cannot stress enough just how good shows they're making.
yeah, they did it even with 5 days, like they opened the question up, the whole show up with like the characters being questioned about why there were 45 dead bodies
Mm-hmm.
lying in the hospital when they returned after the floods and the hurricane. And like, you kind of didn't know if one of the nurses or doctors had decided to go on a mean streak or if it was just
Mm-hmm.
like circumstance, or and it turned out to be neither, but also very like interesting
Yeah.
way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It took a lot in me not to go and Google it because like especially when I'm watching something based on real events.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same with like Bird when we were watching that. It's not a spoiler really, but you still, if you know nothing about it, you still kind of want to be surprised and let them take you on this journey where you question everything.
Yeah.
Because it's so rare when it's done well.
And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the appeals of like Apple TV, because they do often base it on real life events and true stories, but they don't like sensationalize it. They never dramatize it for the sake of the entertainment. They do it to further the
Yeah.
story, and you really see the
Hmm.
difference.
Because that like if you watch anything by Netflix, they're really just driving for the entertainment and
Mm-hmm.
shit,
Yeah.
and glorification just because it gives them money. With Apple TV, it's very different, and I guess like I was trying to wonder like why, and it could be because it's like Apple TV is not their only thing,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
that's they don't need to like drain that for the money. I don't
Yeah.
know, but they're doing it just they're doing all the shows justice really, and yeah,
Yeah.
I can't stop recommending them. Speaking of Netflix, I also watched the Fate Wing Saga.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
broke because I went there for enemies to lovers ship. I was fed a bit. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it, but I did. Like it's very much the teenage drama TV show. The
Yeah.
acting is meh, the writing is meh, but the effects are meh. But you know, overall, yeah, I got addicted. And there's a gay character. Suffolk.
Yay.
One.
And plus
Yes.
size.
Yeah. Though they did her dirty.
Yeah.
Honestly. They, especially in the second season, like first of all, there's this very now uh I've seen it like on Twitter and TikTok even before I started watching the show that there was some like ball or some big event and all of them were in nice pretty dress and all styled up and she had jeans, t-shirt and cardigan.
It's
I'm
just
like,
mean.
yeah, that was just straight up mean. And like also they made her very annoying, incredibly jealous in the second season.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't see it coming that out of the two of us, you would be the first one to break when it came to fit the Wink Saga, because I was
I
so close to
know.
watching it when it first came out.
I know.
Um, but look how the tables have turned.
Honestly, because my TikTok got just filled with like three scenes between Raven, however you pronounce his name, and Musa.
Mm,
And I just like they really talked me into it. I was weak. I was after I finished my school finally, and I just really wanted I needed to my brain to be dead.
yeah.
And I succeeded and I watched it. And yeah, now we are here again.
And in personal news, everyone congratulate Ivy because she finished her diploma, is it?
Yeah, I have my title now.
She did it. I'm very proud of her, and you all should be too. And she's
Thank
gonna
you very
graduate
much.
soon.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm very excited. The first thing I did when I came home was to change my signature to add the title. Yeah.
As you should. She's a doctor now.
Almost, yeah, technically. No.
Yeah.
I would have to suffer for a few bit more years, but yeah, no. Yeah, here we are.
Yay. Very proud.
And then I watched She-Hulk that is coming out currently. I'm getting the last episode this week. I'm not ready for it to end. However, there is so much to talk about, and I'll probably wait until you watch it because the show is really done based on the dude bros and their reaction to female characters in general, which is just honestly just so good, so fucking good. It's one of my favorite shows from Marvel, all project in general. Um, yeah, it was excellent.
I'm very excited. I say this every week. One of these days I will be watching it.
Yeah. And what did you watch?
What did I watch? Okay. Obviously, we're back to Grey's. Things are good. I love Grey's. And I get Chyla Lee now, who plays Lexi Gray, and she also played Alex in Supergirl. And
Yeah.
I just love her very much. She's being done a bit dirty at the minute, though. Not as in like she's not coming off great. She's just going through a lot, and I want to protect her from it.
What?
I've been going back to This Is Us, which is like a family drama type thing, and it has like parallel storylines between like the mum and the dad, who are played by Mandy Moore and Milo Ventimiglia. Don't know how to say that name. He's Jess from Gilmore Girls, and that's how we all know him. And then there are three siblings, and it's just I cry at every episode, and I don't mean like I shed a few tears. I violently sob because it's so like heartfelt and heartwarming, and it explores so many different things. Like one of the siblings was adopted on the same day as the other two babies because they lost the third baby, and they were supposed to be triplets, and he came in on the same day. So he's like a black man living in a white family, and he like had to search for his adopted parents and stuff. And then one of the others is an actor played by Justin Hartley, I believe. And like he's like trying to still deal with his you know what? I'm not going to spoil it. But there's also a fact main character, the sister, and she has a lot of weight loss plot lines, but it's kind of like it's not. I wish it wasn't. I wish she could just be fat and happy, but at the same time, it is like realistic. I think, especially when you see the way she grew up, like very like violent microaggressions towards her weight and stuff, and it's just very, there's just so much there, and it's so rich. And one of the families have started fostering a new child, and every week you like well every episode you just get something like really special to explore, and I just really love it. I really
Oh,
enjoy it.
okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep trying to force you to watch
Okay.
it. um what else what else what
You
else
also watched The Office.
I've been watching The Office. I'm on a slow burn with The Office, but yeah, I've been watching The Office. It's getting funnier, lads.
Yeah,
It took me a
you're getting
while.
to the peak. You're
Mhm.
climbing to the peak now. Is it's on season you're on season 4 and you're gonna get Holly soon and it's my favorite season probably. Like that and fifth is Chef's fucking kiss. It's unbeatable.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot more. When I started, it was kind of like I wasn't often in the mood for it, but I got through it, and sometimes it was funny and sometimes I enjoyed it, but not all the time. And now, like, every episode is very funny to me, so I'm getting there.
Yeah.
It's still not my favorite sitcom ever, but I understand it's very funny and it's very like dry humor as well because it's like the documentary type mockumentary.
Mm,
Oh, I'm still plowing along on Only Murders in the Building, which is very good. It's
yeah.
getting better also, but like I don't have much to say about that. And then I've accidentally gone back to Vampire Diaries because it's autumn season, it's cozy season, and that means curling up with Vampire Diaries. It just
I
does.
understand. I love how you started watching it, then you stopped. Then I started watching it, I stopped. Now you are went back
Yeah.
to watching it.
We never watch it
So,
together, but one of us is
uh,
always watching it at any one
yeah,
time, you can guarantee.
sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of just have to pick up my rewatches sometimes. Like I don't watch them religiously, but because they're like so like cozy and close to my heart, when I need a good comfort show, I just pick it back up and it's beautiful. And I feel
I
like
get
I'll
it.
probably do it with Grey's once if I ever finish because more episodes are now being released and I'm only
Well,
on season 4, lads.
oh, that reminds me, Station 19 has a new season coming out
It
currently too,
does.
because it's season 6 and I don't have it on Disney Plus.
Oh,
And I'm panicking. I feel like the second episode is out already, and I just have to find it somewhere because I miss them. I need
yeah,
them back. I need my Suffolk babies again, trying to have a baby. I'm just ready for them.
yeah. Ivy did me really dirty because she also watches Abbott's Elementary. And she did not tell me that Chessie from The Parent Trap is in Abbott's Elementary. And that's all I
Honestly,
would have needed to hear. She
honestly,
was,
she looks so different though, because I like she's the same, but she also looks like a different person to me now. And like I didn't hit me until like last week when I saw a tweet of someone with screenshot, I believe from now this the first episode of the second season, where she was in the similar outfit as in the
yeah,
Parents Trap. And I was like, holy fuck, oh, it's
uh-huh,
her. And
yeah.
I didn't connect it. I saw it, but I didn't connect it at all.
I couldn't
I was
believe it.
surprised too.
That woman stays with me all the time. I think
Yeah.
I had a teddy called Chessie. I was so fucking in love with Chessie. She was my pansexual awakening. And now I must watch it. She's
Yeah.
back. I didn't know she
Yeah.
was like still around, and I'm so glad.
Yeah, and she's absolutely excellent in it. And there is the greatest ship ever. And it's also coming out now currently. And it's supposed to have over 20 episodes, which is
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very ready for that. However, once again, it's not coming out on Disney Plus. So
Movie wise, I've been watching a lot of autumny stuff because my mum was here last weekend and we just ended up like curling up for most of the weekend and watching stuff. So we watched Hocus Pocus 2,
oh, I
first
haven't
of
watched
all.
it yet. Oh my God.
No, it was it was as much as you can expect from a sequel. Like for me, I was pleasantly surprised because when you hear something's being given a sequel, that was such a classic. Like you can only expect so much because they usually find a way to ruin it. But I think this was pretty good. Like you can tell it was still made for kids because it's on Disney Plus, so you can tell that it's made for like modern day kids now and not for us oldies who just like the nostalgia. But it was good. It's knowing that Bette Midler is like aggressively transphobic kind of puts me off a bit, but I would recommend. I had my witch's brew candle on and it was glorious.
Amazing.
I also watched The Lost Boys, which is an 80s vampire film, and it just makes me so happy. Like, that should be the vibe of all vampire content. 80s hair, dangly earrings, and just like small town creepy vibes. It's just everything. If you have not watched Lost Boys, you must do it this spooky season because it's just one of the best vampire movies ever.
Yeah.
Have you been watching any films?
You know what? I don't think I was because No, I feel like I'm only on the like The Office and books right now. I'm just trying to catch up from the past few months where I was
Yeah.
just not in the mood or doing school shit. We watched Step Up. We watched
We
Step Up.
did. Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
unfortunately, my villain origin story is that Step Up 2 was removed the next day, and now I
Mm.
haven't watched Step Up 2, and you can't watch them in one. You can't
Yeah.
only watch one at
But
a
you
time.
know what? We were saying we remembered nothing of the previous movies. However, when I went through the names of them, I remembered everything. And I remember I loved them so much. Step Up movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
You
were
mean like the
really
ones
good.
after Step Up
Yeah.
3? Yeah, I
And
think they
Step
could
Up
always be
Revolution, I loved it
good.
so much. And
One of
because like it had all the characters or like most of the characters
Mhm.
and was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I feel like I've not sat down and watched the last few properly, but I remember in one of them there's a scene where they dance to Build a Home by the Cinematic Orchestra, and it's like outdoors a bit like in Step Up 1 when they dance on the roof, and there's just something so fucking special about dance movies where they do like an impromptu dance, and the music's good, and there's a sunset, and then they fall in love, and it's just I fucking love dance movies. I need more
Hmm.
of them.
I know. I really enjoyed them. Like that's my childhood, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really a time when like dance was everything to me when I first watched those movies as well, because like I
Same.
spent most of my childhood dancing, and it always takes you back to that time when you just felt like you could do anything because you were a dancer, and that was really
Mm,
cool. Like
yeah.
I loved it. Shall we talk books?
Yes, let's talk books.
What have you been reading? I know
I've
it's a
been
lot.
reading. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know what? After I finished school, I started with 21 books behind schedule.
Yeah.
Now I cut it down to 15 books behind schedule, which is still a lot.
Yeah, but
So
let's bear in mind that her goal is like 165 books. It's not like she's
150.
slacking. 150.
150. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Because I got cocky at the beginning of the year. I was like, because last year I managed to finish it like at the last week in the year. And I was like, I'm gonna keep it chill next year. I'm gonna put in 120. And then in the first week of January, I managed to read like 2 books a day. I felt like I can do it. And by the end of February, I feel like I've read over 60 books at that point. But then, since then, I read almost nothing. And now we're
Yeah.
here with 15 books behind fucking schedule. So Fortnite and Marvel released fourth and fifth and last comic book in their collaboration series, Zero War. Loved it. Amazing. Did you
Mhm.
enjoy it?
I most certainly did. Like, I'm not into the all the action stuff, but simply reading it to see Wolverine and the Imagined
Imagined. Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
That was surely
Honestly.
something. I haven't got the fifth one yet. It was I think it's due to be dispatched, or like I don't know. The Royal Mail are in a
Mhm.
lot of strikes at the minute, so everything's a bit delayed. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it very much, and it's nice to get back to
It's-
comics. Ivy made me buy too many comics the other day.
Look, I told her to buy Fortnite Marvel and she just got off the rails. That wasn't on me.
Yeah.
She just kept rolling and who am I to stop her, right? I had to read. She was just there sharing the screen and I had to read. So like I cannot babysit you too. I have to control myself and it's already difficult enough.
Yeah, well, this is what happens. I have a feeling that even if she wasn't distracted, she would have forced me to buy all of the books.
It
So
could happen worse actually. Yeah.
I got Black Widow, a collection, and I got the first Law of Olympus, which was also recommended to me by Ivy. and I pre-ordered a Winter Soldier one because Bucky Barnes.
Yeah. And that was
Yeah.
not on me because she's obsessed with Bucky and Natasha. That's not on me. I'm Wanda's bitch,
Yeah, I did this all on my own.
Yeah.
So it maybe shocks you all. I do, in fact, have my own personality sometimes. Very
I'm not
rarely.
always in control. I read Lord Olympus 1 and 2. The third one will come out soon. I'm ready for it. I really loved it. I really like there are a lot of trigger warnings, but it's done like in surprisingly amazing way. It's very gentle and very sugary and just it made me giggle and it's very sweet comic book. I recommend, yes. Then I read Love on the Brain by Ailey Hazelwood, which I read the first 2 chapters before I had to start studying, which was the greatest mistake I've ever made. Because then for 2 or 3 weeks I couldn't touch it. And I suffered every minute of it. But then I finished it and I loved it. It was amazing. And I love it very much.
Oh.
She just makes me feel a lot of things. Then I read Things I Learned in the Night, which was a collection of poetry, which I enjoyed. And
And I
then
recommended it.
yeah,
Well, not really, but I read it and then Ivy read it.
you read it, yeah. And you gave it 4 stars, so I figured like, yeah, I'm gonna read it too. And then I read another book. I thought it was by her, but it was by different Emily. Like Amazon confused the fuck out of me because I took it on Kindle Unlimited, and it's another collection called Swim by Emily Burns. I cannot pronounce her name. Yes, I enjoyed that too. I enjoyed it. It was fine. Oh, then we read This Is How You Lose the Time War.
Yes,
We
we
both read
did.
that.
Yeah. Once again, my suggestion. Can I add?
Yeah.
I'm gaining some power here.
Yeah, it was strange. Honestly, I still don't really know what happened.
Couldn't tell you, lads. Couldn't tell you, but look, sometimes all you need is really flowery prose. It's all you
And
need.
suffix and love.
Sapphics, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not what I expected, but then I didn't really know what to expect going in. It was it's hard to describe what it was. It's hard to follow, I would say. Like,
Mm.
if you're looking for sapphic fiction and you're big on romance, I would say don't start there because it is very like it's written in a very poetic, complex way that doesn't always put you in the story so much as you are very aware of the fact that you're a reader on the outside. I feel like.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was different, and it's always good to read something different and something out of your comfort zone, I feel like.
Which for me was because it was sci-fi. And
Yeah.
I never I'm not a fan. So that
Yeah.
was like table sacrifice I made.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. Like the more you got into it, the more you sort of wanted to keep reading, even though you had no idea what was going on. But yeah, it sucked you in. Yeah. Then I read a romance novel, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. And y'all, I got fat. It was very long, like over 500 pages, I believe. It was a slow burning. It was drama. She got kidnapped, It was all I needed to feel things. It was great. It was
You
really great.
always need some good angst in your life. I feel like that's something that I'm missing a lot at the minute with my reads. Some good old angst.
Yeah. And kidnapping.
Yeah, I love a good
So we need
kidnapping.
more. I know. That's great. And just going feral over her being kidnapped.
Yeah.
It's
That's just
just
something so personal.
I know, it's just unmatched.
Yeah.
Oh, The Ballad of Never After came out recently. It's the second book in Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber, which is a follow-up series after Caraval trilogy. It's, you know what, she's writing young adult, and it's probably the only young adult that I just really love with my whole heart still. It's the way she writes, it's so fairy tale like it's undescribable. It's just so magical and so sparkly and so good. And especially this series about Jax is just so angsty. Honestly, like it made me cry a lot. It made me giggle. It made me my heart warm and my heart suffered a lot. It was amazing. It was really amazing. And I'm not saying you should read it, but I feel like I'm saying a lot.
Is that directed at me or everyone else?
Both. Why not both,
Yeah. Well, I need to lower my to be read pile at the minute. I refuse to buy any more books. I say that quite often and then buy more books, but
yeah, and at that time it wasn't on me. You said recently you bought books the other day, right after that, and it wasn't me. I would like to point that out.
oh, but it was because it was You've Reached Sam and Afterlove, and Ivy bought them. And first of all, I'm a sucker for purple covers, and these are the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. So, what did she expect from me? Just asking.
But I still feel like it wasn't me, but okay.
Okay.
Demon in the Wood by Lee Bardugo was a graphic novel about Darkling and his sort of like childhood with Bagra, and it was amazing. The illustration, the story, I really just adored it a lot. It was very short, and beautiful and great, and I loved it. Then the last book, A Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy, came out by Carrie Maniscalco. Kingdom of the Feared. Again, read it, loved it. Yeah, just amazing. I got fed. There was smut. What else could I want, from life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's right there on my bookshelf. Mm-hmm. But I just
eyeing you with.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's still time.
There is. But we started buddy reading The American Roommate Experiment. I say buddy reading. She started reading it like 2 hours before I did. So she's
No, it was literally no. You know what? No, I have to say something because I've been saying that for the last 2 weeks. We were about to start buddy reading. It was Saturday, I believe, and she said, "I'll be ready in 5," meaning 5 fucking minutes, right? Except it wasn't 5 minutes; it was half an hour, which would be fine. But I was like, okay, well, 5 minutes, I will start reading because she reads faster than me because it's her first language. So and I don't like to be behind a lot. So I felt like I'm gonna get a head start by 2 chapters, perhaps, and it was 40 pages because she took half an hour instead of 5 minutes. So it's not my fault.
Mm-hmm. But the crux of it is always that Ivy doesn't like to be behind. She cannot stand the thought of me reading something before her. I got Kingdom of the Feared like probably a week before Ivy did, and I was like, "Yeah, we can buddy read." And then she starts reading it as soon as she gets it. So I'm kind of giving up on this whole thing. We'll read it when we read it.
Say nothing because it's true.
Yeah.
You know what?
You heard it here first, folks. She admitted.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I cannot stand it. It really just, I have to be first. I feel like it's being the oldest sibling, but I don't know.
She asked me to read all these books and series, and then when I get them, she has to make sure she's read them first.
Yeah. I know it's a problem and I'm aware of it, and honestly, the fact that you start reading and even finish, I believe, A Court of Silver Flames before I even got it it just haunts me still, and it's 2 years.
Yeah, but that's different because that's Nesta Archeron. That's my wife. And you would
Yeah,
expect me to not read her before you. That's my wife.
yeah,
I take that personally.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel like just because like I don't know. Honestly, I believe like someone licensed could give me a fucking answer for this. I don't know what that is. I really don't. I know it's
Yeah.
it's just eating me alive, but I don't know what it's about.
Therapists, get in touch if you know what this
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. What else? I also start reading the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey, which is a 5-book series on Kindle Unlimited. It's about this woman. She's getting revenge on a few men that uh killed her brother, like violently raped her in the middle of the street. And she was like, she died, and her but managed to survive, but she was clinically dead for a bit. And she had to get like a lot of surgeries to even like make her face not to be all broken and stuff. It was very brutal. And now she's killing them off and dating FBI agent who is in the charge of her case, which I'm really enjoying.
Good
And
for
it's
her.
just honestly just women going nuts. I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like Villanelle will be proud. Yeah. And then I ordered based on your recommendation and started reading based on your recommendation 100 Queer Poems.
Yay.
Yes, I started reading it yesterday. I will finish tonight probably. Oh, that's queer, y'all. They're all very queer. It's great. Yeah.
It's very varied in that, like, not every poem hits you in the face as queer, but more
Mm-hmm.
as like very subtle things, and then others like are very obviously queer. But it's just it's full of really great poets, modern day, not so modern day. And there was this line in the introduction by Andrew Macmillan, um, that like the first time he read queer poems, it was like saying like you're worthy of literature, and that's exactly why like queer literature needs to exist, because it's saying like this
Mm-hmm.
is who you are and you're worthy of that. And there's something so special by starting the anthology on that note and
Mm-hmm.
like going through it. It's definitely one of
Yeah,
my it's my favorite anthology now, definitely.
it really did hit me a lot. Like even like you were reading it when I was studying, I believe, and you read it out loud, and it just hit me. And even like I forgot about it, and then I read it, and it was, whew, just
Yeah,
holy hell.
yeah, it's very special.
Yeah. Then I start reading When Gracie Met the Gram by Mariana Zapata, which is a superhero slow burn romance. However, like I love her slow burn, I really do, but the superhero just kind of didn't hit me the right way because I there was a lot of there just could have been a lot of angst and pain, and I don't feel like it's delivering. I'm in the middle of it. We'll see. I have to get back to it at some point, but now I'm reading serial killer one, and that just
Yeah.
I know someone will for sure die there, so
Superhero versus serial killer, which one would you choose?
I made my choice, and I have to live with it.
Why not both?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I agree. The superhero did kill someone that kidnapped them, so like I don't feel like he's Steve Rogers Superman kind of superhero.
More Tony
But
Stark.
yeah. Yeah. But very grumpy and quiet. So yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. Which something Tony Stark isn't as quiet.
Yeah.
And the last book I started reading is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, which is like university romance with like ice skater, uh a competitive figure skater, and a captain of the hockey team. And because like his teams ice ring got melted. They have to now share the other one. And I'm in 13%. I feel like I read 5 chapters and then I thought I need it physically, so I'm waiting for it to come to me on Friday. And it's really good. It's really funny. And it's really good so far, and I'm excited to read it more. It's gonna be great, I believe. And it's the first book in the series, so I'm gonna get more, and I'm very ready.
It looks very good. The cover really like drew me in on that one.
So those are the long list of what I've been reading.
I know. Can you believe we're actually reading stuff?
I know.
Us,
I'm just so
readers.
happy I can read. Right.
That's always a bonus.
Yeah. So, my love, what have you been reading?
Okay. Mine is also a pretty long list because I had 2 weeks off. So the first one was Rosa Parks by Wendy Dalrymple. I've sung her praises here before because, first of all, she's a very good writer, and second of all, she's a very good friend. And she kindly gave me an advanced copy of this one, but I'd also like seen the first few pages before because she sent me them to beta read and stuff, and it did not disappoint the second time round in full. It's a Florida Gothic. A woman is paid to house sit for this rich couple, and she quickly learns that there's a lot more to this house and the things that happen within it than expected. And it's got a lot of like twists and turns and a lot of like human immorality versus like the morality of the paranormal. Like there's a kind ghost there who helps her along and things like that. And it's got all the vibes. It's very good for autumn. The aspects of horror are not so much like visceral and graphic, but more like just the actions of humans. And I always love that kind of horror, like that explores that. But I would definitely recommend. There's a hot gardener in there who may or may not be a bit morally ambiguous himself. And yeah, there's just a lot to love in that one, and I really enjoyed it. And then I finished The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren, which was gifted to me by Ivy last year for my birthday, and I got around to it this year. Because that's how it works. Yeah, there are still other ones that came with that one, like Law. I haven't read yet.
You know what? The thing is, I completely forgot what I've given you last year, and I gave you more books this year, of course. So maybe next or the other year. There's no rush.
Yeah. So this one was very like fluffy and cute, and it's like a single mother. And then there is the scientist man who is working on like an app based around genetic compatibility, like, and they end up being a perfect match, like 96% out of 100. So they start like a type of fake dating thing just to make the company look good, but naturally it's very soft. It didn't give me the angst that I particularly wanted, but that was just the mood I was in. It was an enjoyable read, and definitely the best one of Christina Lauren's that I've read yet, I would say. I then read Into the Horizon by Noel Stephens, which is a 20k word novella, so it did not take long. I read it in one sitting. And that is a sapphic take on Davy Jones. There's a pirate who has escaped from prison, and then Davy Jones like captures her on her ship, and it's a very like new take that, well, I've never read a female Davy Jones before, so, and we all love a good sapphic pirate story. It was very quick and fun. I would have liked, it was supposedly a monster romance, so I would have liked more monstrosity. Like Davy Jones was very nice and kind, and I wanted a bit more immorality, kind of. My latest read was The Book Boyfriend by Gianna Louise Skinner. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I did that last time. I talked about it a bit last time and I finished it and it was just as good from start to finish. Um, there was some twists in there I didn't expect, but mostly it was really just very autumny and vibey. And the main character has schizophrenia, which is like something so new. I think probably one of the first main characters with a mental illness like schizophrenia. Um, and it was interesting because like he comes from a book, like he's a fantasy man. So like her trying to work out whether she's hallucinating or it's really him, like is an interesting like take. And yeah, it was just very witchy and autumnal. I would recommend. It's set in a bookshop in Exeter. Yeah, it was just very magical, very atmospheric, and I would recommend it.
Good.
And I'm currently reading um Make You Mine This Christmas by Lizzie Huxley Jones. It's a sapphic festive romance. We kind of like connected because I'm releasing a sapphic romance and she is as well. And it's
On
very,
November the 1st, which is soon as fuck, and get ready, and you want it.
yeah, it's coming out soon, but it's not about me.
No, I feel like we should make it about you because it's honeymoon for one. It's amazing. You will love it, and get ready to be upset about it.
Yeah.
No, feel free to move on.
Yeah, it's very exciting. But Make You Mine This Christmas is also very queer. It's about a bisexual woman who ends up fake dating a guy for Christmas and then but she has a meet cute with his sister over the book Carol, which is sapphic as we know. And then but she doesn't know it's his sister. And so she gets to his house and lo and behold, the man she's fake dating, she's in love with his sister. And
I
it's
love it.
very hilarious. Like I've never laughed out loud so much with a book. Like it's so witty and the conversations and the banter is just it's very good, I must say. I'm very excited to
I'm
carry on
excited
with
to
it.
read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm listening to The Wall of Winnipeg in audiobook on script. It's a slow burn. It's Marriage of Convenience. It's by Mariana Zapata. I had some trouble because there's a scene where the love interest Aiden, he is a pro footballer, so he's famous, and one of his fans like grabs his bum, and they just like the main character laughs at him for being molested slash harassed, and it's just really uncomfortable to read. It's never addressed how that's a problem, and that really made me a bit iffy about it, but I persisted and I'm really enjoying the romance of it. But I've heard some very problematic things about Mariana Zapata because I tweeted about it when I read that. And like I found out that her other book, All Roads lead
I'll here to me
lead to
somewhere.
me. The one with Rhodes in it, she names the main character Rhodes, and apparently that's a very like offensive thing to do for South Africans or Americans. I should probably know that, but I've
Yeah.
already forgotten. Um, because he was like a dictator and a fascist, so it would be like naming your kid Hitler. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
so and apparently there are more like dodgy scenes and stuff. So it's like I'm tentatively enjoying it. I think it will be my last Mariana Zapata book, but you can read it and still know that there's bad stuff about it. I think as long as you're open to like knowing that it's not perfect and knowing what the issues are, then you can kind of I still find an enjoyment from it.
Yeah, just reading stuff and consuming media critically. That's what
Yeah.
you have to do
Which is what
anytime,
this
always.
podcast really is. Like we watch stuff and we know what's wrong with it. Bloody hell, we've both
Yeah.
been watching Vampire Diaries for a start. It's just kind of finding the right balance. And I guess everyone's different. All right. What's the tea, Ivy?
Well, I'll leave Hazelwood. love Hypothesis book. It's being turned into a movie. For those who don't know, the book started as a fun fiction about Star Wars characters. I don't know. I don't watch Star Wars, so I wouldn't know. And even like even the cover is the fun art of the two characters. But it got really famous on TikTok and on Twitter too. And it's really just this joyful book. It's very soft, it's fake dating, it's um she's a woman in STEM, so there's also like there's a lot of discussion about how women in science are treated. Um and also the main character is demisexual, even though it's not specified, but like that it's described there quite a lot. And it's also the first book that I feel like I've read where the consent is handled verbally and a lot, not just shortly and just gone. And I was really shocked by it and I really enjoyed it. And I feel like it was announced on one Friday that it's going to be a movie. I got excited. I woke up the next day, I opened Twitter, and it's just filled with people hating it because this specific book is the one that's being turned into a movie. And it's not the book is problematic. I didn't notice anything. Didn't see people pointing out anything actually problematic. But their issue is that it's like not the best written book ever, and that it started as a fan fiction and it got really personal to the writer also, which is just made me so upset and it's blowing my mind, and I don't understand it because I've seen a lot of similar hatred that doesn't really have to be there about certain books and writers and people that enjoy these books and these writers. And
Yeah.
it's annoying.
First of all, like if you're going into romance expecting good writing, you're not always gonna get that. Like, I'm not saying romance writers are not good writers, but there's a lot of varying degrees to which that is true. Like, a lot of romance writers are very good at telling a story, but sometimes the writing falls short for me personally. But like, unfortunately, that is part of the genre. Like, it's not like you're picking up like a wonderful piece of literary fiction. You're reading something that's there for joy more than anything else. So you're never gonna like find that anyway. And there's nothing wrong with something being a fan fiction first. Everyone starts off with fan fiction, especially recently. Like, it's the way that you find a love for writing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just
And
this like hatred for everything. Like, there's nothing problematic about any of those things, but people have to find a reason to
honestly, I
like.
feel like I'm taking a lot of it quite personally for several reasons. One is because a lot of this hatred is like, oh, you must be so stupid for even liking it, or why do you even like it? So it's very directed at the readers who actually enjoy it. And you know what? There is a reason why the book is loved. It's fun. You don't have to think. But also, I don't necessarily always enjoy books that are like written very beautifully, because as a someone whose English is second language, I don't want to think when I read books. I want to turn off my brain. I don't want to translate every other fucking word, and I just want to dive in and not come out until I finish the book. And a lot of people are having fucking issues with it. And let's not forget, like, the whole thing that the bad writing is being published and why do people read it? Writing and books in general, it's art and that's subjective. And like, why the fuck do you care about what other people like and consume if it's not problematic?
Yeah, we
Just
said
because
last.
it doesn't fit to your standards.
Yeah, we said last night that like with writing, everyone has different expectations compared to other works of art. Like if you go into a poem, you don't look for the quality of the writing, you look for the
Mm,
emotion that it leaves you with. And the same with a
yeah.
piece of art. Like you can have messy art, you can have mistakes in art, in like painting and things, and it sometimes brings out the character of the piece. But like with writing, everyone seems to just expect this like completely perfect work of art,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they forget it is art. I think they forget that just
Mm-hmm.
one person sat behind a laptop and wrote it, and that was from their brain. It wasn't like before anything else. That's what happened. Like, yeah, you get
Mm-hmm.
editors and stuff, but it's not like they change everything about your work, like, and clean up all the messy parts, because sometimes the messy parts are the best bits and they resonate with some people but not with other people, and that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's a lot of standards. I think especially in romance writing, it feels a lot like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of eternalized hatred, maybe like mixed up with misogyny and things, because women in particular, it's
Mm-hmm.
they have to be good writers before anything else, but that's not why romance writing began. It's for the
You know
story.
what? Yeah, I feel like yesterday was it when I read someone say like women are being like laughed at for reading books where the men treat them well. And
Yeah.
men laugh at that, saying it's not real, which is like really it really stuck with me. I cannot remember how it was written very eloquently, and I cannot speak anymore. But it really just stuck with you. Like men hate what women want
Hmm.
and claim it's not real,
Yeah.
and they keep women then go and read it in romance books because that's what they want from life.
Yeah. And like sometimes it's just the bare minimum, like they're just a
Mhm.
nice person, like, and that's something that's shocking to people and like not understood, because
Yeah.
men do not act like that in real life, but it's really just the bare minimum.
Yeah. And just let people enjoy whatever the fuck they enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of this. Like, there's so much wrong in the world, and God knows we went through, we still going through some shit. And it's just like you want to find joy everywhere you can, and you get it, and then and someone ridicule you for it and makes
Yeah.
you feel like shit because you enjoy it. And again, we're talking about something that's not problematic.
Yeah.
That's completely different discussion. But it's just exhausting. It's really exhausting.
That's my issue with like Twitter in general, because before I was like on author Twitter, I was in fandoms anyway. People get so used to piling on criticism and wanting to seek
Mm-hmm.
out fights and conflict that they forget the reason why they're even arguing in the first place. Like they just find something to hate and they want to hate it and they find enjoyment from that. But
Yeah.
it's a really fucking miserable way to live. Like why would you do that when you could talk about something you love? It's a completely
Mm-hmm.
different thing when you found something that's a problem and an issue and harmful. But when
Mm-hmm.
it's just a fucking unproblematic romance book that's not causing any harm anywhere, I don't know what the problem is there.
I feel like people are forgetting that just some pieces of media are just not for them, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Not everything will be made for you. Not everything will be made for your taste and your enjoyment. And
Hmm.
you don't like it, that's fine. Move on.
Yeah.
Go search for something you will.
It's very exhausting.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I went on unfollowing spree after it. I just had to clean it from people. Just, I've been following them for books and writers, and I just can't have it anymore. I
No,
just can't do this to
I
me.
get it. It's exhausting as an author as well, like seeing other authors
Mm-hmm.
be like piled on like that. It just feels like you can't really ever win. And I don't know. It's like what we said the other week in the like stuff about book talk and things. Like I just don't know how they expect us to want to write for them anymore. if
Mm,
they choose to, if that's the attitude they choose to have.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a very like toxic environment.
I have tea.
Well, I don't
To
really. The whole
spill.
world has tea about the guy from Try Guys. I did, first of all, I
Oh
didn't know
yeah.
what a Try Guy was. I'm getting old. I don't know these modern terms.
Me
Apparently,
neither.
yeah,
Yeah.
apparently they're from BuzzFeed. Um, they're like a group of guys. I don't know what they fuck they do. I guess they try. I don't know what they try to do. I don't know what they're doing. But like apparently this Ned guy got really like well known for his the love of his wife, as did John Mulaney, for those who know, like the comedian.
Hmm.
Like both two of these men like really like pushed home the fact that they really love their wife.
Yeah, they base their whole personality and vibe around that, yeah.
Yeah. And lo and behold, Ned cheated on his wife. And
But there's more to it actually, because
oh,
it's not only he cheated, but he cheated with his coworker,
mm-hmm,
and I feel like she was their assistant or something. So there was this unbalanced thing, and she was also engaged, I believe. And then Try Guys, the rest of them released a video sort of explaining stuff. And from what people really got from it is that um it was it was more than just cheating. Like that there was really the imbalance at work.
mm.
And they like launched the HR thing there in there because it's like a company thing. So that the HR got involved like very deeply, and yeah.
To be fair, it was good to see that he Ned was like immediately cast out. Like the Try
Hmm.
Guys were having none of it. So I
Hmm.
don't know what they do, don't know who they are, but good for them. That's the
And
tea
all
this week.
Yeah, and also what if there is a follow-up. SNL did a skit about it,
Oh, okay.
about the apology video and the explanation video. However, the way they approached the sketch was that they made fun of the apology video itself, absolutely ignoring the fact that um they're not the bad guys, but the net person is the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen also like a lot of people discussing the word trauma when it comes to them, because and um I mean, let's look at it from their point of view. Like they know they were best friends for 10 years, and now not only their best friend cheated on his wife, who they know for 10 years at least, but it's very public. They found out about it in public, and all of them are getting tracked. So
Mm-hmm.
that's quite a lot, and it's only not only like personal life but also professional life. Yeah, it's just a lot.
And you
It's a
know
lot. People are
what?
very
All
sad
those
about it.
discussions, I've not seen one person talk about the impact of him cheating on his wife. I've seen the how traumatic it must be for the Try Guys. I've seen how wrong Ned is. I've not seen one person express like any sympathy for his wife, which I found very fucking bizarre because it became this whole conversation about whether they have the right to be traumatized, which of course they fucking do, like to use that word
Mm,
trauma, like they lost a friend. But in
mm,
having those conversations, it's distracting from the fact that there was a woman harmed in all of this, a wife, a person who wasn't a part of any of it. Like I know nothing about her. And I probably
yeah.
many maybe not everyone does, but like it was very interesting to see that in all of that drama, in all of that uproar, there was just nothing said about her. And I think that says a
I
lot.
I feel like it started to me as people standing up for her. So it was at the beginning, but I feel like they got her out of the conversation to just hate him,
Mm,
which I
yeah.
can't say is wrong, because like I feel like they have kids too. Um, so yeah, I'm glad to see like a lot of people are taking the correct side though.
Yeah, it's just very interesting from like an outside perspective to see how these things pan out online. Any more tea this week, Ivy?
Ah, I feel like I must be forgetting. I have to start writing it down. Oh, right, yeah. So Lee Michelle is replaced Beanie Feldstein
Yeah.
in Funny Girl, which is a play on Broadway. And Beanie, she's a plus size woman, and Lee's costume is much sexier and much revealing than Beanie's,
Mm.
even though they play the same character. I wonder
I
what's the
wonder why.
difference.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. What could be the difference?
It's interesting because I was looking at like Beanie's pictures of her wedding day because she just married her wife, by the way. She's Sapphic Queen and I love her so fucking much. And I was like, you know what? She's not like I wouldn't label her plus size just looking at her. I would label her a normal fucking body.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been having these conversations recently where someone on I think TikTok it might have been pointed out that like
Mm-hmm.
very similar for like Nicola, how do you pronounce the name? Nicola Coughlan,
I don't even know how you, yeah. Yeah.
who plays
Penny on Bridgerton.
Brain Fart. Like she's been like a size 10 or a size 12. So she's not actually plus size. She's very
Mm-hmm.
petite. She's very short and she has curves, yeah, but she's not necessarily plus size.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be kind of a conscious choice that directors and producers do that for bigger women. I say bigger with air quotes because usually they're just normal sized women, where they will put them in scenes and of course they look bigger next to skinny actresses. Because when you
Mm-hmm.
look at like the woman who plays Kate, Simone
On
Simone
B something.
Ashley, like she's
Okay.
very, very lean and like very, very, very thin. Not thin, thin, but like very slim. So it's only natural that they would look bigger. And also the way they design the costumes,
Mm-hmm.
you see a huge difference between everyone else's and the way that they've designed Nicola's slash Penny. Is she called
Yeah,
Penny?
that was yeah, Penny, but that was part of her storyline. Even in the books, like it was written that she's in the worst dresses and it makes her look like worse and it's not
Okay.
flattering to her skin tone. So she will have like her costume will change in the new season,
But
which is about her and color.
why does
But
looking worse conflate with looking bigger than she is?
it
Do you
was both. It was like in the book it was like that was her story, like she was like written as fat, and then in her book she lost weight, changed her dress, and the man fell in love with her anyway. um but even like in Dairy Girls, she's in the show, like even then she's labeled like that bigger of the group.
Yeah.
And we can like point out even Danielle Gal, what's her last name?
Galligan.
Yeah. In Shadow and Bone, where she plays Nina, who is canonically fat woman. And Lee Bardugo several times. She's a fat, beautiful, happy woman. Well, not happy now anymore in the events of books.
Nina
Anyway.
is really happy.
Nina is rarely happy,
Even
but she's
before.
canonically fat woman. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you put her next to Amita Suman, who is very thin, she's very like athletic as Inesh, of course. And because Danny has big boobs, she's suddenly the fat character. Even though she's her body's normal, like she's not plus size. She's not even chubby. And
No.
it's just an ugh. And you
That
know what? I know about Danny because like when she was casted, I wasn't happy with that choice, even though like she's an amazing actress, just because of the character and what it means to me personally. But the fact that they are putting like normal bodied women next to slim women and then labeling them as plus size or fat,
mhm.
that I didn't, you know what? I fell for it. I
Yeah,
did
I
fell
did.
for it.
Yeah. And calling it diversity. And it really makes you
Yeah.
realize if you can do that, if your brain sees like a fat woman when it's a normal sized woman, that's kind of how the entire industry works. Like that's how they ostracize you and make you feel othered through that. Because if the standard is so thin and or slim and tall, then anything that looks different than that is gonna look vastly different when everyone around them is the same shape and the same like size.
Yeah.
It's very damaging.
Which really also there was a plus size model on TikTok who, by the way, she's not plus size. She's just normal body again. But she said like these sort of like secret agreement of what it means to be a plus size model. So even if you have like big thighs, big ass, you have to have your tummy like no stomach rolls. Yeah. No stomach rolls, just and you cannot have any fat in your face. Which again, like when I learned this information, I could see it. It really made sense. But it didn't hit me until then.
I've always noticed that even plus size models, they never have a double chin. And my double chin is one of my biggest insecurities. So if like I was always looking for that. And I never saw anyone who had a body like mine with a double chin. And I was like, why? Like it's so damaging, like, and so harmful. I think that we've gotten too used to using the word plus size when what we mean is mid-size or normal. I do think that like, and I think that mid-size shouldn't exist because that's just another way of othering people with a really fucking normal body. It's like you can be slim, which is desirable, or you can be these other things, which is not. And it's just exhausting. In similar news, they cast The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary for the TV adaptation. And in the book, it's very clear that Tiff has curves, or she is plus size, and in the show, they cast a slim woman, and it's just again like they just constantly try to erase like normal bodies, and it's so exhausting.
And this feels like a good time for me to once again say read books by Olivia Dade.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, something something, and then Shipwreck coming up soon. It's fat main characters, all different types of like types of bodies. Amazing. Even Shipwreck, by the way, he's also chubby.
I fucking love chubby men.
I'm so excited. I know.
That's another thing. Do you know what? It's weird because in real life you see that chubby bodies are so much more accepted. I can't help but notice the way that people praise Lewis Capaldi for like showing off all of like his things that would be considered flaws. Like he's chubby, he's not the most attractive man in the world. And people praise him for just like embracing that. But if a woman was to strut around the way she did, the way he does, and with like the same features, with the same qualities, traits, she would not be received the same way. Like,
you know, always look at Lizzo because she just said it like yesterday on some concert. Like, people are constantly taking her name in their mouth, even though she's fucking existing. She's doing nothing. She's just existing, and people are criticizing her for shit.
Because for those who don't know, Kanye said some fucking, you know what? I don't know what Kanye decided this weekend. He woke up and he chose to be a prick in all regards. He wore a shirt saying White Lives Matter. And he labeled Lizzo and this body positivity movement as demonic, and like because of the unhealthiness of obesity and shit. And he just talked absolute shit. I don't know what he was doing this weekend.
He even said something like about Jews and how he will lay them all to die or something like that. It was just You know what? He's getting off the rails. And I also saw a lot of people being like, oh, he's mentally ill. The majority of us is fucking mentally ill, but we're
Yeah.
not going on Twitter and being fucking dickheads.
Yeah.
And actually like abusive and problematic person.
I've noticed mental illness is only ever used as an excuse or a insult on social media, especially. Like, if someone does fucked up shit, they're mentally ill. But then if they do something else, then they use it as an insult, like, oh, they're fucking fucked in the head or whatever. And it's just, it's never used in the term that it's meant to be. It's never used to describe actual illness because it's really easy to choose not to wear. Like, they must have put some planning into wearing a fucking shirt saying white lives matter. Like, that's not an impulsive mentally ill decision that someone made. Like, he went through the motions with that. He planned that. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Swords and Sapphics. Remember to support women's rights,
but most importantly, support women's wrongs, unless they're telling you you're stupid for what you like to read, or they're being Kanye West type of dickheads.
Yeah, I think that's usually men
being
specific.
fatphobic.
Yeah,
that's true. But women are also fatphobic.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week, I guess. See you later, alligator.
In a while, crocodile.